Hello and welcome along to creating a one-page website in Adobe Muse with your host Robert Smith. In this part 3 we're going to look at this menu we created in the last video and we're going to style it. Okay, now here's a trap for young players. Muse has an area called the Plan and Design view. Right now we're in Design view of this page. And all of this was done on a master page. So as I go and try and select anything, I can't select anything. I need to go back to Plan View, like this, and double click on my master page. And now I can get access to all these elements that I'm putting on the master page. Okay, much the same as in Design. Okay, here's our menu we created. Now let's talk a little bit about fonts and how fonts work on the web. Once upon a time, we used things called web-safe fonts. And what that means is I'll just first of all select the menu once, then click on it again, and then double click on the word about, like that, to select it. And I'll go up here and I've got my text options, as I would in most Adobe applications. We had these things called web-safe fonts, and these were on every computer, Windows, Macintosh, it didn't matter, and that's what we had to use. But Adobe's come up with this thing called web fonts, where we can add web fonts to our little page we're working on here. And to do that, we just go up here and simply click on Add a Web Font. It'll open up this dialog box and we can go through this list of fonts, much the same as DeFont if you're used to using that. Now I'm going to choose, let's have a look at a font we can choose, this Bevis. I quite like the look of that, so I'll click on that and OK. Now I've already done that, so I'll normally click on OK. If I look now in my font list, you'll see I have Bevis New here, and there's a sample of it. So if I click on that and have a look at it, I'm looking at it and thinking it's a little bit condensed. Let's try another one. Let's try another font I've added, which is Acta or Acme. Let's try that one. That's a bit better. Okay, it's a little bit rounder, a bit easier to read, but it needs to be a little bit bigger. And so I need to go up here and let's make it about, let's see what 24 looks like. 24 is fine, nice and easy to read. Okay, now you're probably wondering how this is happening, that everything's changing if I only selected one menu. That's because if you look at this drop down blue menu, this little blue thing here, you'll see I've got Edit Together. Make sure that's selected. Okay, that way if you change one of these menus, they'll all change. Okay, so we've changed our font and we like the look of that. What I'm going to do now is alter what's called the states of these menu items. If I click on one like that, select it, over here you'll see a thing called states. And what states is all about is what it looks like normally. Normal simply means what it looks like when you first go to the page. Rollover means exactly that, when you roll over it, what color it's going to be. And mouse down is when you click on the actual menu item, and active means the actual page you're on or the anchor point you're on. More of that later. Okay, so in the normal, I don't want it to be grey. I'm going to click on normal like that, and I'm going to go up here to my fill in the color swatch, click on here and make it a darkish brown, a chocolate brown like that, much to match this brown up here. Okay, great. Now, in the rollover, if I click on rollover over here, you'll notice it's turned grey because that's the colour it is by default. So I'm going to click here, go up to my fill again. This time I'm going to make it orange, like that. Very nice indeed. Now, the mouse down doesn't really matter because it's so quick. When you click on one of these buttons, it happens really quickly. You're not going to see that colour anyway, so it doesn't really matter what colour that is. But active tells you the page you're on, so I'll click on active. And I'll make that a bluish color. About that color is good. Okay, great. So now I've styled my menu. I've changed the fonts like this, and I've also changed the state, the color state. So let's have a look at that. Now to preview that, I'm going to Shift Command E, and there it is there. There's my menu, looking good. If I roll over it, click on it, you'll see it turns gray for a split second. And because we don't have any pages or anchor points connected to this menu at the moment, the visited state won't come into play, but it will as time goes by. Okay, so let's close that down. It's looking very good. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, Apple minus, And because I want to place some social media icons on this page, I want them on the master page. So if we ever do have a second page, they'll already be there. Now to do that, I'm going to go to File. I'll make sure Plan, I'm on the master page. Yes, I'm on the master page. And I'm going to go to File, Place, like this. And I'll navigate my way to my Images folder. And there's my YouTube icon, and my Twitter icon, Facebook, and email, like that. And I'll click Open. And now I get a loaded cursor. And I'm just going to click 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. Very nice indeed. Okay, now I need to align that, so I'll just drag that to the left of the page like this, roll over the top like that, and let's go to our Align window. Align, where are we? Here we go, Align like that. And we need to distribute these objects vertically like that by clicking on this thing over here. And there they are, distributed nicely. But what we want to happen, we want them to stay at this point. So let's see what happens when we preview it now. Shift Command E, like that. And just Command minus so we can see it zoom out a little bit, like that. Very nice. Now the problem is they disappear as we scroll down the page. What we want to do is to stay where they are. Okay, but before we do that, I actually want to change the color of that white. I'm not really happy with the color of that white. So to do that, the white background of the whole page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click anywhere off the page like that, and you'll see a thing called Browser Fill up here. So I'll just grab the color. The color I want will be, say, that color. Okay, I don't know if that's the right color, but it'll do for this exercise. Okay, so now my background's going to be brown. But what I want to do is, first of all, is select all of those icons like that by dragging a marquee over them. And I'm going to go to Object Group. I'm going to group them all together, much as I would in Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever, or InDesign. And now, if you have a look up here, you'll see an option called Pin. What I want to do is I want to pin them to the left-hand side. So if I click on Pin like that, they will stay there. And I want to do the same for all of these menu items. I want this menu to stay at the top all the time. So I'm just going to drag a marquee and select everything there, the menus, everything like that. I'll do the same thing again. I'll go to Object. Won't let me group that, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll select this and I'll pin that to the top by clicking on Pin. Select this one, do the same thing. Click on Pin to the top. Select my menu. Do the same thing, and I'll pin that to the top by clicking in that little square there, and this little background color, do the same thing with that. I'll pin that as well. Okay, so let's have a look at it. What I might do is Shift Command E to preview it. Now, as you can see, it is scrolling, but there's no content at the moment to see that. But down the right hand, you can see the actual scroll bar working. But these items, they stay in exactly where they are, which is great. So we can have content that will scroll underneath them. Okay, and speaking of content, that's what we'll do in the next video. We'll add just that little bit of content. Thanks for watching.